begin?
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Springfield Municipal Board of Zoning Appeals for Tuesday, April the 9th, 2024 is now in session. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would we please call the roll?
Buzzy Poole,
Here.
Larry Simmons,
Here.
Carolyn Woodard,
Here.
Carolyn Sherrod,
Here.
Adam Pacheco.
Here.
All are present, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Item 1.3, approval of minutes from the regular meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals that was held on March the 12th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. Item 1.4, the public comment period. Do we have anyone here wishing to make public comment?
No, sir, no one registered.
No public comment. So we'll move on to 2.0, under new business. Item 2.1, discuss and possibly take action on the variance to reduce setbacks at 401 7th Avenue West. Would you please read this into our minutes, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and if you might remember, this is the project that was tabled from last month. You had requested the applicant to present something that was acceptable to staff. We do have the 9 subject of standard variances that the staff reviews and that needs to be read. So I'm going to start with those now.
Do you have another one? Yes. One, particular physical surrounding shape and conditions of a specific property involved that would result in a particular hardship upon the owner and distinguished from a mere inconvenience in the strict application of the ordinance or carried out must be stated.
This property is located on the corner of South Gardner Street and 7th Avenue West. There are 2 front yard setbacks which result in a particular hardship. The existing structure is non-complying with encroachments on both front setbacks. This is in the pre-existing structure and grandfathered in as it currently is located. A non-conforming building or other structure may be enlarged or converted, provided that no enlargement or conversion may be made on either creates or a new non-conforming or increases the degree of non-conformance of a building or other structures or parcels of any portion thereof. This criterion was not met.
2, the conditions upon which the petition for variance is based would not be applicable generally to other property within the same district.
This condition and situation would apply to other properties in the same district if other properties had the same situation. This criterion was met.
3, the variance will not authorize activities in a zone district other than those permitted by this title.
The property is located in a residential district and an allowable principal permitted use. This criteria was met.
4, financial returns only shall not be considered as a basis for granting a variance.
Financial returns are not considered as a basis for granting a variance. The owner plans to add to the existing structure and reside on the residence. This criteria was met.
5, the alleged difficulty or hardship has not been created by any person having an interest in the property after the effective date of this title.
The alleged difficulty or hardship is being created by the current property owner. The property has a buildable area without reducing the setbacks. This criteria was not met.
That granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this title or other lands, structures, or buildings in the same districts.
The variance itself is a special privilege, and any person or property owner could request a variance from this board. This criterion was met.
The variance, 7, the variance is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure.
The variance is not a minimum request to make possible of a reasonable use of land, the building, or structure. This criteria was not met.
8, the granting of the variance will not be determined by the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the area in which the property is located.
The variance is less than the minimum distance to the property line for a two-story structure and could potentially be a safety hazard. This criteria was not met.
9, the proposed variance will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, substantially increase the congestion of the public streets, increase the danger of fire, endanger the public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the area.
The 8.2 feet distance from the property line could increase the danger of fire spreading. This criteria was not met. All right, there were 4 out of 9 criteria met. Staff and administration have reviewed the request and have objections to increasing the non-conforming structure per the zoning ordinance 11-1202. Staff has no objection in squaring off the side house on Gardner Street with the existing structure. However, any addition to the structure will need to be within the buildable footprint. And I'll go ahead, and that ends our 9 criteria. And I just want to elaborate on the questions that were asked last month about adding to the non-conforming property on the side, adding property. I did look at the existing properties on the side, and both of them are non-conforming lots, so he cannot purchase property from them. Let's put it that way. So they are already less than what they're supposed to be, so he can't take any more off of that. The 10-foot side setback that the police chief Yolowski talked about, that is also not met in this particular case as well. So I do have.
Can we get a motion to get this on the floor for discussion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Very good.
Candace and I both have spoke with Mr. Snell extensively and trying to get him to look at the area that is buildable. And as you can see on the map, there is a room to build an additional structure. We do not oppose adding to the value of the property. In fact, we would like to see the value added to the property. He can go 2 stories up. In the green area is that buildable footprint. Unfortunately, I apologize, we do not have that total square footage. The surveyor did not provide that information.
So what you're recommending is to square up the side of the house on the Garner Street side, correct?
Right, now that's what we're not opposed to, because that is already non-conforming, and that would line up the rest of the house. But there are 3 variance requests. The other 2 do not meet our regulations. And this one being a non-conforming, it's really basically lining up the house, and we have no problem with that.
Mr. Snell, would you like to come up where we could talk to you a little bit?
There we go.
We have a difficult situation, don't we?
We do a little bit. I am looking to you guys for some, I guess, advice here. I did bring some stuff to show, if I'm allowed. Kind of a last minute thing. I thought I'd have somebody draw me up to try to visualize a little bit what we're trying to build. Am I able to pass that to you guys?
Do you have printouts, you mean?
Yes. Is that allowed?
If you'd like to distribute those to us.
I do have one for you guys, but I did not, this is kind of a last minute thing I did yesterday morning. Person. Just trying to show a closer. Thank you. It doesn't change what we have, so just visual, more or less. The first page more or less shows where the red line is the property line, and everything else is the dimensions of the current structure and the neighboring structure to show that they are all parallel to each other, so the side variance, that 1.8 foot, is not, it is at 10 feet in the west corner. The east corner is the 8.2 feet, but that's purely because the property line is at a diagonal. To the neighboring property and to the fence line, it is 10 feet all the way across. So the side variance that we're asking for is to square up the, so we don't have an angled garage. The distance between the neighboring property and our property would be more than 25 feet. And if our property line was straight, we would have a 10-foot, we wouldn't need a variance on the side. The second picture, this is something we talked about with the fire chief. He was opposed to a two-story structure. We talked to him and tried to explain that by using elevation, we can actually decrease the roof height to a one-story structure on the north side of the property because there are over 3 feet of, there's over 3 feet of elevation change. So the fire chief's concerns were that it was a two-story structure. By reducing the roof line to under 15 feet, it becomes a one-story structure on the north side. The fire chief's primary concern was with the ladders getting on top of the roof and being two-story. So by reducing that roof line, it does decrease it to a one-story. And while we are asking for that side variance, we do have 10 feet across that entire side, and everything's parallel. We also, in order to get the 10 feet, we moved the garage a little over 5 feet south and kind of wrapped it around, trying to move into the, on that top picture, trying to move that more into that green space. We have worked to bring it towards 7th Avenue to meet that criteria. And to the buildable area to the west of the house, as you can also see in the first picture, the front page there, I did a layout of the house as it sits right now. The kitchen being in the front of the house, and on the west side of the house, that's the master bedroom. And there are two windows in that bedroom, so we could not build a structure to the west of the property in the buildable area that's on the map, because the fire chief would not allow an attached structure to be built next to that bedroom. So short of remodeling the entire house or doing some massive project, tearing down the house or something like that, it'd be extremely difficult to build on that side of the house.
No, I'm just looking at.
I've got a question for Kim. Have y'all seen this yet? Okay,
I mean, you're just now looking.
that's what I'm saying.
It was kind of a last minute thing.
Yeah.
I thought it would help to visualize, and it was not done until 11 or so this morning, 12, I don't know exactly when.
It doesn't change the fact that they're wanting to build outside of that building envelope, which our regulations clearly state that do not increase the nonconformity of the structure. So you can't expand, you just cannot build outside of that footprint. So to be consistent with the regulations, we would recommend you not to.
I heard it, I didn't see it. I heard something. Looking around, I'm hearing something, but
Huh? Yeah, the buildable footprint is the green.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I do believe the neighboring property had a variance when it was built too.
So new construction,
But this up here,
or it
I can't,
was.
I can't, my glasses.
What's the question?
This 7,
This is 7th, this is South Garner.
this right here was buildable, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what
We're not squeezing another 1.8 feet out of the design.
It would make it a 16-foot wide garage. It would be pretty,
Yeah,
I
it'd be
mean,
tight.
it would be, it'd be getting very tight. I could probably get a little tighter, but it's a struggle on that side right now. The side is I would rather take 5 feet from the rear than take 1 foot from the side.
Have you had the lot survey yet?
Yes,
Make sure that's where the real property line is?
yes. Todd Bollinger did the survey. Actually, we have a copy of the survey here apparently.
I'm just thinking for your benefit.
Yeah, no, it's been looked at.
I was mowing a guy's yard, it wasn't mine, I thought it was mine last survey. That's why I'm saying, I've learned from experience.
My neighbor and I kind of both mow each other's
Okay.
yard right in the middle.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah, no, we have, the property line is certainly a challenge here, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, the fence is drawn in the picture, of course, there's a fence in the yard. That entire property is asphalt right now on that side, where it used to be the doctor's office and the daycare, so everything there is asphalt currently.
And you can't get closer to the doctor's office, because it's there, right?
We did not, yeah, it's not torn down, it was, when we bought the property, it was mostly, remodeled, all the stud walls were in, there was drywall hung, electrical done.
I was trying to figure out how we pick up that foot, was it a foot and a half, isn't it, something like that?
1.8.
1.8, a little over a foot and a half.
I mean, there's a,
Just for clarification, he mentioned that there was a variance given to the property adjoining to that, and it was a vacant, non-conforming lot that sits to the north
Yeah.
of that property, and that was for our front yard setback, and lining it along with the other houses in that road. In the situation, per the zoning ordinance 11-1202, as it states, a non-conforming building or other structure may be enlarged or converted, provided that no enlargement or conversion may be made which either creates a new non-compliance or increases degree of non-compliance of a building or other structure or parcel thereof.
I like the finish.
I'm sorry?
Did your architect do these?
No, I have a friend who is a amateur, has some software and wanted to practice.
Gotcha.
He's got some
So what he's needing is like eight
grade rods and whatnot, and was practicing, and
or eight.
we used that to pick up the points. And
Gotcha.
he had just done the neighbor's backyard, and some landscaping back there, and it was, so we already had all the drawings from the neighboring property, so I was able to just pull off of those points, and he was able to pick up our points, and
Gotcha.
able to do the elevations to show that, you know, the elevation drop to the elevation with the, bringing up the grade to get to that one-story roof line. One number I don't have, I wish I had now looking at it, we're very close to the rear of the neighboring property. I don't know what that distance would be to get to that, lining up with the rear of that property. But we're very close with their property as drawn.
Which part? You mean the projected building?
My projected building versus the neighbors, the adjoining property, in the first picture, first page that I gave you,
Mm-hmm.
that line is extremely close, it looks like. From our proposed structure to the neighboring,
The Galuzzi residence?
yes.
Yeah. Well, it,
That's your side right there,
correct. That's the variance, side variance from 10 to 8. This is the rear variance back here from 30 to 15.
The 10-foot is met in the rear, on the west side of the property. I mean, I know that,
On the which side?
on the west side, or the
Yeah.
north side of the property, but to the west point of the garage, we are beyond 10 foot in that corner. I think we're almost 10 and a half feet in that corner, and it's where the property line angles that gives it that need for the variance in the northeast corner. The northwest corner does meet the 10-foot variance, or the 10 feet, so it wouldn't need a variance.
Hmm. Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I think that's what we're running into. Well. Mr. Sin, I can see your predicament. I will say, I feel like a lot of what we're supposed to do is fight creep. Allowing exception for some people that would apply to other people. And, I don't know.
I understand that. I do look at the property being a converted commercial property we're trying to
Sure.
turn in. It's not it was never a residence, it's not been a residence, it's not a house.
Sure.
I understand in the zoning ordinance that doesn't change, everything's looked at with a broad scope, there's nothing, so I'm hoping that it is a unique, being commercial, maybe that does give some weight to, it was not a house, it was never a house, it wasn't intended to be a house. We're trying to turn it into a house, and houses have the additional garages, the backyards, it's something we're trying to create that does not exist there.
Gotcha.
And we're trying to squeeze in as much as we can in the space we have.
Oh, I get it. And I'll say, I live in the neighborhood. And I think I have a garage that dimensionally, if you put it on that space, it'd be short enough where it didn't cause the encroachments. I mean, I think you've got other options, they're just not what you like.
We're trying to add livable space too.
No, I understand.
Yes, I mean, just to build a garage, yes, a garage can be put back there. We're trying to add livable space to the house as
Yeah.
well. So, we're at just a garage, there is space there for a 1.5 car garage that does fit well within the envelope, I understand. Trying to add the livable space, the backyard space, and create something that doesn't exist because it's not a house, there is no back porch, there is no, we're trying to create that livable space and have a garage, without blocking windows in the master bedroom.
Oh, I got you.
And,
I don't have a way of measuring this, I'm just throwing this on the table. If you was to shorten the garage, how many feet would you have to shorten it to meet the variance?
Just the angulation of the property.
Even in the building,
Yeah, like with 2 feet, 3 feet?
this is what's outside the envelope, so that's 15 feet.
You talking about 15 feet long towards, what is that street, Garner Street? I'm talking about if you pull the garage door back towards, I guess it'd be west, towards the west,
Oh,
and then, off of Garner Street.
like it wasn't flush with the side of the building?
Right. Would it take so I don't know if it'd take a foot or 10 feet, this doesn't show.
I don't know, you got to depend on the angle. You see what he's saying?
Just pull the garage back, the front door back.
If it weren't flush with the side of the existing structure, if it were moved to the west, the front of that door, to the point where that, it met the 10-foot requirement on the side.
And it
That's
might
what
be,
he's saying.
it might be so much as you lose your garage, I don't know.
oh,
Well,
I
I would-
understand, you're talking about like from that 1.8 feet to
Yes.
where the triangle is.
Yeah,
If you kept the same depth of garage, but you moved the
Moved it.
face of it back, you had it staggered back until it met the 1.8.
I have tried to get that number. I've not found anybody good enough at trigonometry yet to do that for me.
I could help you with that, I got a protractor somewhere.
I'm sure it lands somewhere in the 30 to 40 foot range. I think it's somewhere,
see, would it come back as, on the drawing I showed, it says 44.7 inches? Would it go back that far, or that
Well-
farther? I'm just throwing it out.
Well, we'd have to,
Yeah, so we don't have that much information here.
I think it'd be farther than that. I think it'd be at least the rear, the west side of the existing structure. I think it'd be at least 30 feet.
Did you see what I was talking about?
moving the face of it back away from Gardner Street.
Just to meet his variance.
Some of this is the old drawing, I think. Because, yeah.
So you're saying another option may be with the garage, maybe?
Just like push where the garage section, you just push it back.
The face of this, because it's at an angle, the further back the face of the garage is in that corner.
Just the farther off the property line.
Well, it'd be a question of where it is, I guess.
Right, yeah, you're gonna be 5 feet or 10 feet or 2 feet.
Instead of the long one? Did you get that?
That common name, I don't have a look,
Well,
but he'd get his garage.
Would the goal be to get to one variance, basically? Would the goal be to get to one variance? Is that what you're trying to, what the,
well, if you move the whole thing back.
If you just move the whole garage back, we still have no setback there.
Well, no, he's still asking for a variance in the, that would be the rear setback, I mean, as it is established. We still have two 30-foot front setbacks?
Yes, that's the requirements.
I know, but right now, so there's not a, there's one rear, we're calling the rear, oh, I see the variations of those pictures, of which one is chosen to be rear. I got you. So, right there, Buzzy, that's chosen as the rear. It's 15 foot off of that. So, if the garage moved this way, it would be further into that rear 30-foot setback. So you'd have to get less than.
Yeah.
be a
So right
bigger
now, we
variance.
just have one variance issue, and that's the side.
No, there's three variants.
Yeah, three variants,
Well,
okay.
there's three, but one of them is the front to come flush with the building, right? Because the front of the building is already at 25 feet
Correct.
on the South Garner side. So that setback is just making the rest of the building, the new building flush with the existing structure on the Garner Street side is the 30 to 25.2. Have you ever talked to a structural engineer about whether you could build something on top of the existing structure?
A little bit,
I know there's a height limit there that you hadn't gotten near close to meeting.
yeah, I think what, 35 feet is the height limit, I believe?
No, man, some of those places are 70. I can't remember, I can't remember what it is. You remember, Kimberly? Kimberly, do you remember what the height limitation is in that?
35.
Is it 35? Right. How tall is your building right now?
The existing is about 14. Depending upon where you measure from. On where the proposed structure is, it's almost 16 right now, but on the front of the house, it's about 13. So there's
Gotcha.
an elevation difference there. And which is why we're able to make up so much height on that north side by bringing up the elevation between the neighboring property and our property there's almost 4 feet of elevation between their house and our house.
Gotcha. Wow. Mr. Snell, I mean, other board members may feel differently, just really because you have other options. I know you don't like them, but
Sure.
It's got too many questions with the current design, in my opinion, but in order for me to say approve it, but I think if you had I think there are other options that aren't as good of a building. Well, possibly, maybe there's something that hasn't been envisioned yet.
I understand. Anything else, of course, decreases the livable space. I mean, I can
Oh,
still
I
have a garage,
Yes, sir.
but it will decrease, it either becomes a garage or livable space. I can't combine both into one structure
I understand.
with the size. So I understand where you're coming from with that. We are trying to fit a lot into a small space.
Yeah.
Given
Oh,
the space we have to work with.
Yeah.
And
And I
try
get it.
to make it look uniform, clean, and add value to the neighborhood and to the property. So it doesn't look like a commercial building sitting there in the corner of the property still, trying to make it look a little more like a house.
Like a
and
home, yeah.
You know, and given the footprint, it becomes a small rectangle building still.
Yes, sir.
That's, you know, fully built with a flat roof.
And you guys have done a good job. It is a neat building.
Yeah, no, we certainly do love that aspect of it. We love the house, we love the property, we love the walkability.
Yes, sir.
Just trying to make it fit within our trying to make it be something to
Oh, yeah.
live in, add to the value.
Maybe cram kids in there or something.
No kids,
No, I mean, not yet, not to.
I got dogs.
Yeah.
It becomes the doghouse.
I know you're opposed to putting the garage on the back side of the building, but that would work, wouldn't it?
You're talking on the west side of the property?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It fits, except there's that master bedroom that has the windows, and the fire chief said it had to have egress out of the bedrooms with the windows, so I can't put an attached structure on that on that side of the house because of the bedroom windows. The fire chief said I had to move the bedroom or make that a hallway of some sort, which means redesign the entire interior. So we're very limited with the building space.
So you have addressed everything that the safety that the fire chief was wanting to be done, all of that's been done?
I feel like it has. He was not happy with it being the two-story structure because of ladder access. So we reduced it to a one-story structure on that side, and then we did move it back to, from a variance side, it's not the 10 feet, but we did move it back to create a 5-foot, even though the property line runs diagonally. Everything is parallel or more than 25 feet between structures now at any given point. And he did mention that, 25 feet was the minimum distance between structures on it. And so we did get beyond that 25 feet between structures. It does leave that small variance on the side yard, on the north side of the yard.
If you took, I'm just throwing this out here, if you took the garage and put it down beside the existing building.
Yeah.
All right, the master bedroom, I think you just have to have one window, right?
How many windows did he say for the master?
Mine just got one window.
Yeah.
He did not specify.
I'm not special as you, but if you took it and pulled everything this way, and I guess that's a bathroom right there next to the new garage.
That's a master bath, but there's no
If
windows.
you put the master bathroom, it just, over, just mirror it, flipped it over, and have let that garage come up here. I don't have a measuring tape, and have your window right there. And then you'd come around by the Galusi house and turn into the garage. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, I said, I don't have any measurements here in front of me at all.
I understand.
In other words, just flip the back, in other words, that's, I guess like a closet or something, not a kitchen.
Which one? For the front.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just reverse that, put the garage on the side, and then, I don't know how far it'd be from the window to the end of the building. It looked like it'd be almost as much as you're trying to build now.
The building is 50 feet overall.
Okay, the existing building is 50,
The existing
right?
structure is 50 feet
All right, and
overall.
the building you're wanting to build is 56, is that right? I can see that number.
Yes, and that's ever so slightly variable. I mean,
Okay, if you took that, brought it all the way up here to the front of the 7th Avenue side and just let it run towards the Galusi house,
Mhm.
and then just leave enough room up there for a window. I'm just throwing that out there to make it work.
It would shorten it about probably close to 20 feet to that first window in the back corner of the bedroom. If you added a window in the bathroom,
No, I'm talking about moving the bathroom down,
Well,
redesigning the interior.
move the bathroom down close to the kitchen,
I understand.
and then put the bedroom as far as as close as the Galusi house as you can get.
I understand.
That's just something I'm throwing out there.
That would be a option. It would be an expensive option to.
Okay.
There's the water heater, the water softener, and electric panel are all kind of in that corner.
Would that meet the requirements? You see what I'm saying?
I don't know what the building, interior building is.
I mean, as far as, I'm talking, we have 3 variances, what's causing the problem, right?
Correct.
So, I'm just trying to
The
live.
variance itself is the problem because it's a non-conforming
Yeah, right.
structure, so really there should be no variance outside of the building envelope. Only one that I think that the BZA has approved in the past is just Other than that, if you go on the regulations.
I believe that would, if you, that's what you're talking, yeah.
Well, he's,
So what does that do to the variance to the west side? Does that make it inside the variance of the west side?
I think so.
well, I don't think we have, I mean, I think it's conceivable, but this isn't,
And Mr. Snell did say if this was denied today, talk to us and said they would go back to the drawing board and stay within that building envelope.
well,
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said when we spoke, Mr., you said that if you were denied today, you would go back to the drawing board, start over, and try to stay within that building envelope.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think you can build what you want to build, you would just have to put the garage on the backside of the existing structure.
I do tend to agree, I just don't know how to, I mean, without remodeling the entire, she is correct, there is water and sewer on that side of the house. I had forgotten about that. All the water and sewer does come in on that side of the property, I had forgotten about that.
So we would have to move it, I understand what you're saying, but it would just be another movable.
Yeah.
And you might possibly even be able to build a bigger garage if you did that.
It would require a remodel of the house, interior, the entire, I mean, that is something the fire chief also looked at, but it would require a remodel of the entire interior of the house to make that work. Plus moving utilities.
So are you willing to consider that option that Mr. Poole presented to you?
Not comfortably. I don't know if I have the money to remodel the entire west side of the property would be, all the water runs in that side, the sewer runs in that side. It would mean redoing the entire, basically remodeling the entire house to do that. I think that would be, I don't think financially that makes sense to do, no. While it is an option to do there, but I don't think financially it makes sense at that point. You know, the house, we've already invested in a remodel and purchased the property. I think that puts you way over what makes sense to build, no. I think the only thing that I could really comfortably try to work on would be on the north side, that 1.8, if, you know, if the east side variance is grandfathered in because it is non-conforming, if that 1.8 is a sticking point, I feel like I can, it would be decreasing the overall width for sure, but I would certainly want to keep the rear at what it is at that point. We might be able to, if we had to pull it in to align it with the neighboring property, that may be an option, but
correct. Yeah, and the third is over here. But that one's, yeah. That's not particular. It'll remove that variance. Yeah. You guys thinking some more?
What did you say?
Said you guys thinking some more?
I think we're at a situation where we can't move forward on this.
And it says if he has to redo something, it's gonna be very cost effective, cost a lot. The garage is the one option that can be done, right?
Well, no, if, with the current design, the proposed garage,
Proposed garage.
is outside the existing possible building envelope.
And still wouldn't help.
Well, it's an option that creates problems, it's not the only option, theoretically. But it's the only option we've seen, well, other than last time, some variation.
We can take minimal variances, but not quite this much, you know.
What would be the minimum on the rear? Is the rear my primary problem that you guys have? I mean, is the 1.8 doable on the side?
Well, my principal problem is, it's not necessarily the only option.
Sure.
I mean, it's an option that requires variance, but you can build something on here you can build multiple different variances of
Sure,
garage space or living space without encroaching on either setback.
sure,
It's just not, it's not what you want. And I understand that.
sure.
If the lot left you with no other options, I think it'd be a matter of specific variance. But I don't think it leaves you with no options, it's just nothing you like.
Sure, no, yeah, I understand that.
So,
Is there a variance that works, or is it, at that point,
I think it's a matter of design. I think it'd be a design that fit within buildable space, other than the setback from the other street. I have no problem approving the variance to conform with the existing, pre-existing thing.
sure,
I mean, again, part of our job is to prevent creep of acceptance of other people if we approve for a lot that doesn't have a structural reason that prevented any other option, then any of other people can kind of do the same thing, and then the city gets liable for creep of chaos. So, I don't think it's a matter of specific variance unless your lot did not allow you to do something critical at all, or you had an existing non-compliance that was grandfathered in at the time of zoning. That's my take on it.
How about an L shape?
Yeah, I thought that would be something that would work.
Yeah.
And you could have something on stilts
Then
further
you,
forward.
then his window could remain intact.
And you could build living space on stilts further forward if you
I
want
think
to.
he's got a window right there.
Yeah,
Your work is completed inside the existing, isn't it?
yes. Yeah, it was, I don't know what the final number was, but it was well over hundreds of or not hundreds of thousands, but
yeah.
certainly well over $100,000 in remodeling costs. That, after the purchase, not to
Yeah.
mention what we purchased it for with remodeling already been done. We upgraded all the sewer, plumbing, electrical, and
Yeah,
all the finish out, islands, kitchen, yeah. Inside is done.
yeah, that's cool.
To go back to the inside again would be it's a non-starter, really.
My wife and I built a master bathroom back onto a sun porch, knocked a hole in the back wall. I still think we have concrete dust in our house from 5 years ago. Well,
I believe you're gonna have to change your design to fit the lot.
should we officially vote to disapprove the request?
Well, we could table it.
Well, I mean, you can come back with another. I mean, tabling doesn't.
Do we need table or,
Depends what are you looking to do.
okay.
Are you willing to try a different design on the garage?
Will you allow any variance on any side?
Well,
That'd be your call.
The
I mean, as far-
only
what-
variance that the staff is
Yeah.
recommending is to square up the house on Gardner Street.
it'd have to be a variance that was due to, that you're put upon by necessity due to the or was kind of grandfathered in due to the irregularity of what's already there.
Okay.
So variation, I mean, variation officially due to, wanting to build something there, but it's not what fits well is. And of course, we can vary which side is considered the rear, is that right, Kimberly? Yeah.
He has a choice of
Yeah.
either side.
And so you could choose one rear setback,
Mhm.
but we're almost converting one to a side and the other one to a side and a half. One to a side less, and then one to a side and a half. So the non-conforming components of your lot are that the existing structure is built outside of zoning ordinance and that it doesn't have any rears. You have two fronts.
Mhm.
Well, you have two fronts and two non-fronts. So typically, corner lots, we talk about the non-primary street. Alongside that, we consider one side a rear and then a side on the other, so you can build a reasonable sized house over there.
Mhm.
But 30 to 15 and also 30 to 8 is a lot of variance when there's other building options. So I don't think it's a matter of any specific variances, there's just a lot of variance to request that aren't out of necessity. And not due to the fact that it's a corner lot and the structure's off-center. You know what I mean? So I believe it'd have to be a different design that did not, I think it's reasonable to request one of your sides become a rear, or one of your rears become a side, and then square up the front of the building, but this design is not necessary, therefore it doesn't, and the lot doesn't force you into it. If you guys lived without a garage, you could. It's just not, living with a garage is better. So. So I propose we vote to disapprove this request for these variances because other building options are available, and it's not a difficulty that was put upon the owner outside of their own creation. It's not alleged difficulty, hardship created by a person having interest after the effective date. It is. So I would vote to disapprove this request. I suggest we vote.
The question is, are you willing to try to submit a different design on the garage that could work? Because we can't allow the way it is now, it's just asking too much.
My understanding,
Because we have to stay within regulations. I mean,
Sure.
certain variances, small variances are acceptable, but all of a sudden we'll have people up here, everybody asking for 15-foot variances. Well, you did it for this guy, or you allowed it for that guy, and all of a sudden the gates open up and here we go. And at some point in time down the road, you know, things like this might be acceptable, but not at this point in time, you know. Are y'all willing to go one more round as far as if we table it, or?
I don't know if we'll be able to get it done in that timeframe with the architect.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be great to be tabled, they don't work that quick.
it's
It takes a little bit of time.
a lot of money to do as well. I mean, we've
If they
already,
stay within the building and footprint, there would be no need for variance,
that would be,
Yeah.
and that is what we're asking.
Yeah.
But what we, on this motion here, so he could work on getting him a house, do we either table it or say
We
no?
either need to approve or deny.
We need to approve or deny.
Okay.
Or, I mean, theoretically, could we approve just the 30 to 25.21 and disapprove the other two?
Yeah, I'm sorry, approve which one?
Making the, allowing a variance on the front to square up the house. Could we go ahead and just say that's approved, and the other, in case he comes up with a design that fits within that form, he doesn't have to come to us again? I mean, we could vote to approve that in case he comes up with another design, he doesn't have to mess with it. The allowing a variance on the South Garner Street from, I mean,
to square up the property.
Just square up the property.
yeah, I mean, in case, I mean, right now we're talking about, well, this design doesn't work, but if he comes up with another design and wants to use the squaring up the property proposal, we could say, we could approve that now, so he doesn't have to
I
talk
can
to
just go get
us.
a building permit after that, right?
And then we stay in the building envelope on all of their sides.
Right.
Yeah,
You'd have one variance. and
Makes-
And
it's-
this, yes.
just to not waste his time in case he comes
Yeah.
up with another design, he
Let's wait
wants to
30 more
use that
days.
5 feet.
So basically, right now, what he has is 19 feet, addition to that building.
Yeah,
And he's asking for a 1.8 variance. That means your building will be 17.2 square feet.
wait, which,
And then you will square that up with Gardner Street.
Correct. That's what he's,
17.2 feet.
will be the outside edge.
Okay.
Correct.
So you will meet your 10-foot side setback.
Correct.
So you will meet all of the other two variances, the 10-foot on the side and
Well-
the 30 on the rear.
She's telling
That's what he's proposing, yes.
is
And
that,
then you will keep and your only request would be for,
I'm just suggesting, is that side already considered a side? Is it set as a rear or a side currently? I mean, is it, we're not talking about, it has
he
been,
has the option to change which.
I
one
see, he has that option.
So if you-
You see what I'm saying, though? I'm just suggesting,
Correct.
we can go ahead and consider the building envelope on Garner Street flush with the existing current building.
Right. So if you want to look
So
at
he doesn't
this
have to
one
mess
right
with us
here,
anymore.
If you want to look at it like this right here, this is a 30-foot.
Yeah.
That's this piece right here. This is all the green space that he can do.
Yeah.
This piece right here.
That's correct, that's what I'm talking about.
From here to here, to square up this building is it, but it still has to meet the 10. So you
Correct.
have 10,
So right now, I'm
which
saying,
makes
yeah,
it 17.2 feet
yeah.
based on the plat.
You can see what I'm suggesting. I mean, currently, the problem is, it's not his only option. He's asking for variants that are not put upon him. But there's one variance that really we can't deny, or theoretically, the city has no problem with, it'd be a weird thing to deny. It's just making his buildable area flush with that building on South Garner Street. So I'm saying that in case he comes up with a design that does fit within the building area, the 30-foot setback, the 10-foot setback, he doesn't have to talk to us in case he wants to build in that area. So he doesn't have to pitch a new
And if
idea.
you're okay with this, Candace, we're saying that we square it up right here, but what if he decided he wanted to go on this side, would we want to square this up?
I don't know what the other houses are next to.
We're not voting over there.
Is that what
Well-
he's saying? Okay, good, okay.
We're not voting.
Just that piece right there.
And that's an angle on that side too, relative.
It's an angle on the side.
Yeah.
So if he builds
By
out
4.7
to that
million, so you're looking at,
front, that's gonna make him even closer to the
again,
side, isn't it? Cause it's a little.
The front on South
I don't know what I can,
It's a little like.
we have to go back and draw.
See, if he goes on out. this-
No, that's what this design currently is, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
we don't approve of this, we don't approve that, but go ahead and approve this in case he comes up with a design, he wants to use it, he doesn't have to talk to the BZA, and, you know, submit fee and plans and all that, just for that one particular variance, so he doesn't waste his time.
We probably have to vote on them as three different things.
You can deny the first, you can deny the other two and recommend approval for the one to square up on Garden Street. Off the names. In the middle of the rest
Are we calling that the front?
It's referred to the front, let's say the setback on Garner Street, on South Garner Street. From 30-foot front setback to 25.21.
Because if I'm thinking correctly, we can only really vote on what's requested in the document here.
Well,
I'll say it one more time.
well, he's saying, can we only vote on it as a collective, or can we vote on each variance?
I think we'd have to vote on each, yeah,
Individually,
Yeah.
because you're denying one.
yeah.
Oh, but we can do that.
We're denying.
I just don't want Mr. Snell, if he comes up with another plan,
Yeah.
He'd take
he doesn't
all-
have to talk, he's probably tired of looking at our face.
Right.
It's, we're voting to pass one and not pass two, the other two, correct?
That's the way I understand
So we would need a motion to grant the variance on the Garner Street. Now, they're asking for the, so that would be,
Variation from the front setback of 30 foot
That
to
would be the front.
25.21.
30 foot in size, 10 foot, would that be the one?
Do we need to, vote no on the first one?
Well, the motions always had to be for approval.
Right.
And,
Approval or disapproval.
so actually, first, we would need a motion to accept the variance request
You ladies follow?
on the front. Yeah.
You see, you ladies see what I'm saying? The setback on Garner Street, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that.
It would be a motion to approve the front setback from 30 foot to 25.21, correct?
Correct.
Okay, do we have a motion for
I make a
that?
motion.
We have a motion?
I second that.
We have a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Oh, please go ahead and do all three of them. You can do them all three at the same time.
Okay?
I mean,
Well, we
you
can't
made
because-
that motion, now you can go ahead with the other two motions.
Well, how are we gonna vote?
Say, I
That's
mean-
that's gonna be
Gotcha,
complicated.
go ahead, never
Yeah.
mind, please,
Yeah,
go
let's
ahead.
just do them one at a time, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Now, the motion is to approve the front setback from 30 feet to 25.21.
On Garner Street.
Poole,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Sherrod,
Yes.
Whitechecker.
Yes.
Passes, it's fine.
Next motion.
Okay, the next, we need a motion to approve the rear.
We're talking about approving the rear one?
No, we have to, it has to be a positive. You cannot vote on a negative
I see.
proposal, yeah. Okay. All right, the motion is, we need a motion to approve the 30-foot setback to 14.64. That's the rear setback. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Got a motion, we need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Call the roll, please.
Poole,
No.
Simmons,
No.
Woodard,
No.
Sherrod,
No.
Whitechecker.
No.
Okay, now the side variance, we need a motion to approve from 10 feet to 8.2, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct?
I motion.
I second it.
Okay, call the roll.
I'm right faster. We're coming up with this stuff. Okay. Poole,
No.
Simmons,
No.
Woodard,
No.
Sherrod,
No.
Whitechecker.
No.
So we passed one.
They'll be successful. Well,
Okay.
But you understand our position. We have to kind of work within the regulations of the city.
Thank you for your time.
All righty.
I appreciate your hard work.
Yes, yes,
I look forward to seeing you guys do more, I really do.
absolutely. All right. Thank you. All right.
You're always clear.
Busy with it. Okay, moving on, continuing with new business. Item 2.2, discuss and possibly take action on a variance to reduce setbacks on lots 26, 33, 39, 40, 46 of Reyes Estates subdivision. Would someone please read this request into the minutes, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pedro Reyes requesting a variance for 5 lots. As you mentioned, lot 26, 33, 39, 40, and 46. It's on the corner of 41 and Wallace Street. It's zone RS10, medium-density, single-family residential. The required lot size is 10,000 square feet. The minimum building setbacks are 30 feet front and rear, and the side is 10 feet. The request is lot 26 for 14.5 feet, lot 33 for 14.10 feet, lot 36 for 14.5 feet, lot 40 for 13.40 feet, and lot 46 for 14 feet. Now, the staff will read into 9 subject standards for a variance. The staff reviews in the Springfield zoning ordinance 11-1305 zoning variance standard C.
Number 1, particular physical surroundings taken, topographic conditions of a specific property involved that would result in a particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from a mere inconvenience if the strict application of this ordinance were carried out must be stated.
These lots are located on the corner of Reyes Estates subdivision. The subdivision was platted and approved with the condition of having smaller buildable footprint. The property was sold to Reyes, who proposed larger homes than what was originally anticipated. The plan previously approved was in error and is not in the best interest of the city. The 2 front yard setbacks result in a particular hardship to build similar size homes in the neighborhood. This criteria was met.
Number 2, the conditions upon which the petition for a variance is based would not be applicable generally to other property within the same district.
The condition situation would apply to other properties in the same district if other properties had the same situation. This criteria was met.
Number 3, the variance will not authorize activities in a zone district other than those permitted by this title.
The property is located in a residential district and allowable principal permitted use. This criteria was met.
Number 4, financial returns only shall not be considered as a basis for granting a variance.
Financial returns are considered as the owner plans to build and sell the property. This criteria was not met.
Number 5, the alleged difficulty or hardship has not been created by any person having an interest in the property after the effective date of this title.
The alleged difficulty and hardship is being created by the current owner. This criteria was not met.
Number 6, that granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this title to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district.
The variance itself is a special privilege, and any person or property owner could request a variance from this board. This criteria was met.
Number 7, the variance is the minimum variance that will make possible a reasonable use of the land, building, or structure.
The variance is not a minimum request to make possible a reasonable land and structures. This request was not met.
Number 8, the granting of the variance will not be determined to the public welfare or injurious to other property or improvements in the area in which the property is located.
The variance request will not be detrimental to the public welfare. This criteria was met.
Number 9, the proposed variance will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, substantially increase the congestion in the public streets, increase the danger of fire, endanger public safety, or substantially diminish or impair property values within the area.
The setback meets the minimum right-of-way distance. This criterion was met. All right, there were 6 out of 9 criteria met. Staff and administration reviewed this request and agreed that the variance would be beneficial to the overall development for the city. has my notes. I do want to give you a little bit of history about why we're asking for this. Back in 2021, Clay Jones created Jones Village, 46 lots. At the time, his intent was to build a 20-foot wide, two-story house, 46 lots. In an effort to keep the integrity of the subdivision, we did put a note on the plat that stated no variances will be given for these 5 lots. Okay, so since then, Reyes bought the property, and he is proposing a larger home, which is from 20 to 35-foot wide home. And so what he's doing is it's going from a 20-foot to a 35-foot size house, which is also beneficial for the city and for the future growth of the residents. So in hindsight, staff probably should not have recommended or approved the development with the 20-foot wide homes. But now that we're looking at it as a city beneficial, it is good for us to have more valuable houses in there. And Reyes does propose that. That's the background. Now, the home that he's requested, the variances that he is requesting are 15 feet from the property line, which does meet the minimum of the PUDE, the public utility and drainage easement. So it is not encroaching upon that. And that's what we as staff and look for to make sure that it doesn't meet that. So we have no objections to the 5 lot variances.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have a motion to get this on the floor for discussion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Very good. I think go ahead.
May I make a statement? April the 4th, we took this back to the Planning Commission to remove that note that no variances will be allowed. That's why we're here today. It's because we removed that.
I remember that.
Interesting.
Any questions, any comments? Do we have any questions of Mr. Reyes?
This is weird.
Okay.
It's the whole big subdivision approved under now regretted circumstances.
Ms. Williamson, I make a motion.
We have a
I
motion.
make a motion.
Motion to approve?
Yep, motion approved.
Do we have a second?
I had a question real quick, Anthony.
For
Did
me
you-
or Mr.
For
For
Reyes?
you, was that the height that, you said they were 2-story before, was that the height of the original approved building?
No, sir. The original one I was talking earlier is Clay Jones had proposed doing a 20-foot wide, 2-story home.
And he's talking about 35-foot 1-story.
Now, yes, this is Mr. Reyes'
Yes.
property, and they're 30-foot wide. The details of the home, he is here to answer those for you. He can ask you. I believe it's 1,800 square feet.
Yes.
It's 35 by 52.
What? I have a question for Mr. Reyes.
The chairman needs to call.
Yes. Mr. Reyes, please come forward. We have a question.
Are you proposing shorter buildings than were originally proposed?
Sure, no,
Okay.
was make a wider building.
But you said it was originally 2-story, is that considered 2, or just, looks like 1 in eaves?
Are these 2-story or just one?
Well, I'm going to build 2 storage, right?
Gotcha.
And a couple of those lots. And other 3, it'll be, 1 level with the bonus above the garage.
Gotcha.
Yes. So I just question a wider house.
Yes.
That's that skinny lot right there with that building
Yes.
envelope, it is not gonna match the entire subdivision, because the other one's already 40-foot wide, the rest of
Oh.
the houses. Yeah,
The other houses are already 40-foot wide?
yes.
Okay. I don't have any other.
Are you good?
Yes, sir.
We had a motion. We had a second. Did we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second. Mr. Reyes, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Would you call the roll, please?
Highchecker,
Yes.
Poole,
Yes.
Surratt,
Yes.
Woodard,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
passes with five.
Under item 3.0, or other business, comprehensive plan review with the planning commission and BMA, whatever that is, be on August the 16th at 5 PM. Mark those on your calendars. Board member training is scheduled for all April 25th and June 11th, so hang on to those dates. There'll be food served.
Yes, sir. The depot.
We can say
For
that.
training only, yes, I'm sorry. So the comprehensive plan review, that's gonna be on April the 16th, that's from 5 to 6. That is a joint power study that's gonna be with the Board of Mayor Alderman and the Planning Commission and the BZA. And we're just gonna talk about the comprehensive plan study that they've been working on for the last year. The training's scheduled for April the 25th. The training starts at 5:30, but I put on here 5 o'clock because I'm gonna have dinner for you for that training. It's a 2-hour training session, and you're gonna love the speaker. So prepare your questions. I will get to you, I will get information out to you in the next day or two about what he will be presenting. And if you have any questions that you would like me to add to his agenda, then send them to me. That's all I have.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
I motion.